All right, here we go. We got our 2 patterns ready to go. As you saw before, the first pattern didn't turn out as well as we'd hoped. So hopefully with any luck, these guys are going to turn out perfect. First off, we'll start recycling scrap. Right about there. I think we are ready. Just need the aluminum. Should have waited a little bit longer, but just getting this out of the way. This thing's heavy. Oh, get out. Looks like a good part, eh? Look right here. That is our slurry coat. See how it just comes off? And what it did was it protected our finish from taking the texture of sand. Now, with a nice quench, it's gonna flash boil all this, the rest of this stuff off. Ah, yes. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Looks like a little bit of sandpaper, a little bit of grinding, and that thing is going to be the perfect part. I'm excited. I'm happy. One little mess up right here. That ain't going to be no big deal to fix. Doing this with ingots, it just goes so much faster. And it's going to be sitting very close to the sides. But I think it'll work. Yeah, I am looking into getting larger containers and metal containers. Uh-oh. We had a blowout. I knew that was going to happen, actually. Coating was possibly too thick, and it didn't breathe. So gas buildup and it burped. That's all I can think of. Be interested to see how this all turns out. What I think may have been part of the problem is the aluminum was not hot enough. Look at the bottom of the crucible. This thing weighs about 100 pounds or more. Yep. Would have been a nice part. Second round of casting is now done with some success and some not so successful pours. First off is the Y. This Y piece is the piece that supports the dart, just like so, onto the front of the Speederbike, on the front of the tubes there. Anyway, this part turned out really well. I'm very happy with it. I was looking it over. We got a little spot right here where a little bit of aluminum burst out, but I'm actually thinking I might be able to hammer and chisel that off, because I think the slurry coat is mostly in between this part right here. The cleanup is going to be super easy, simple. I'm actually surprised at how well I have sanding scratches from when I made the part here on the side that I can see really well, and those that slurry coat does its job. It protects and helps you retain your original surface. We had a few air bubbles. They show up as little beads of aluminum on the surface, but those are super easy to clean up. A lot of them are just falling off as my hands are rubbing over top of it. So this piece turned out great. I'm super happy with it. So this is a success. On the other hand, this piece here did not turn out as well as I'd hoped, and there's probably a few reasons why. Well, one reason I do know is we're pushing the absolute limits of the volume of aluminum that we can smelt, what the crucible can hold. And I knew it was going to be very, very close, just almost exactly amount of what we need with no extra, no room for issues or problems. And we had some issues and problems. We smelted both of these pieces back to back. This piece was smelted first, and then we smelted this second. So as soon as we poured that, crucible went back in the furnace was fired back up, and we started having what I know now is halfway through the smelting, the tank pressure or the tank temperature had gotten cold. And when your tank is getting cold, you do not produce as much gas. The colder it gets, the less gas you're producing. And at one point, the furnace started acting up. I went over and looked at the tank pressure, and tank pressure was 0. The output pressure was 0. So I just made a quick call, even though knowing the aluminum was not up to the proper pouring temperature. I went ahead and poured. A lot of it ended up solidifying in the crucible before it went into the pour, so we ended up short on this one. But we actually did, off camera, do another attempt. And we ended up having a similar problem. Compounded problem, though. We still had the tank being cold and not having enough gas pressure. So we ended up putting it in a bucket and throwing hot water on it, and that boosted the pressure. But then we found we had another problem, and that was our regulator was leaking. So we still weren't able to have proper gas pressure. And through some quick fixes and some tries, and then eventually almost running completely out of propane, we made another quick decision to make another pour that wasn't ideal. So, a couple options here. One, the amount of aluminum required to make this part is really pushing the limits of what we can do. So my thought was, after 2 attempts, is to cut this down in half, make the pattern half as thick, which would require a lot less aluminum, and we could attempt another pour. Or, since I have got 2 parts that are roughly 3/4 pieces, we can take the 2 and make 1. So that's another option. I don't know if I would bolt it together, or if I'm going to try to weld them together, if that's how I decide to do it. So really, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do, but we do have those options. So I hope you enjoyed our success, and hope you enjoyed learning from our failure just as much as we have, and hopefully next week we'll keep on trying and keep on learning. See you next time.